All right, what's up, people? Welcome back to PJ's Son. It's me, Dom, again. That voice that's getting more and more annoying as the weeks go on. I did that podcast with Alicia last night, and of course I knew what the date was, but just didn't really hit on it too much. And when the girls got off the bus today, I just kind of asked them, if they had really talked about what happened 22 years ago here in our country. And, they had went over some stuff in school. So I was talking to my oldest daughter, Chevelle, and she has been talking about it the past few years and stuff. She's pretty into what's going on. So I had her come down, and we're going to sit here and talk for a minute and not get too sad, but just go over some history and how it changed things in our world. So this is my daughter, Chevelle. What's up, lady?
Hi.
What are you up to?
Nothing. Just got home from school.
How was your day today?
It was good.
Yeah.
hmm
Anything out of the ordinary, or was it just a regular day at school?
Well, we did in science, we went over new notes about naming the naming of different animals.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like how broad their names can't be so that you don't mix them up, and how did you know some people call woodchucks they call groundhogs whisper pigs, or
I know there are a few names. They call them
Yeah.
ground squirrels too.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
So wait a
then-
minute. Were you going over the Latin?
No, just how they name them and the different categories of naming, and we were doing the domain tower of the different things.
I don't remember doing that in school at all. You're in 7th grade?
Mhm.
I don't.
And we learned about, in social studies we did prehistoric and historic, the difference between those two.
What year did historic start? What was that year? Do you remember? What is prehistoric and then historic?
Well, I can tell you the difference, but I can't tell you the year that.
What is the difference? Is it dinosaurs and not dinosaurs?
No. So prehistoric is when there was no evidence of writing or language wasn't invented or anything.
Okay.
And then historic is when there was evidence of certain things, like the World War. That's an example of historical, because there's
It's documented.
yeah. There's magazines and articles all about it and stuff. So yeah, that's a part of history. But basically the biggest difference is whether there was evidence of language or writing in that time.
So pyramids and stuff like that, and even cavemen, that would be historic or prehistoric?
That would be historic, because there was writing.
Right,
There
that's what I'm
was
saying.
evidence of
Okay.
writing going on. So
Okay.
yeah.
So you could almost, I'm sure there's a definite answer, but you could
Oh, yeah,
almost
yeah.
say before cavemen, right? Because cavemen were kind of drawn on the walls in those caves. I
Well,
mean, big time.
Yeah, but humans have only been around 2000.
Not that long.
Right. And she showed me this time. My teacher, she showed me this timeline from 4 billion years ago or whatever, and the inventions and all of that stuff that we've created as humans, it's only a small little tiny portion of that timeline, and humans have not been around as long as we thought.
You're not saying she was showing you a timeline of humans 4 billion years ago. You were saying
No.
that was when the timeline started, and
Yeah.
we are such
Prehistoric.
right. We're
Yeah.
such a small section of that.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy to think, though?
I thought when I think of humans, I think of we rule the world,
Forever.
we're the world.
We're,
But
it started with us.
last year, it mind blew me for days on end in science class, how we would talk about how after humans, what's gonna happen to the world, it's all gonna fall, it's all gonna turn into debris, and what is the world even gonna be without humans? Who's gonna take care of all of it?
Well, we know a lot about what it was before.
Yeah. So
So
then it could dinosaurs could randomly come back or something.
I mean, how crazy is it to think? Right?
Right. Yeah.
Have you ever seen dinosaur fossils in real life? Did we ever go to a museum or anything like that?
I don't think so.
Dude,
No.
it is gnarly.
Really? Have seen some?
I mean, I don't know where,
Yeah.
but I know I've seen, I don't know if they were real. They might have been replicas, but T-Rex, dude, if
Right.
that thing was running around just doing whatever it wants, I mean, it is so gnarly. It's like 40 feet tall. It's massive.
It's like it's insane to even like think about how that was a thing. Like think about how like that was on the earth.
Yep.
It's just crazy.
It ruled the earth.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
And some of those things, I don't know which one the Stega is, but I got a couple favorites and I just can't remember all their names. But like, they're massive, dude.
I think the Stega one that you're talking about, that's the like bird one, right? Or no, that's like the Flyosaurus or something.
Flyosaurus? You just made that one up, bro.
No.
Velociraptor?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
That one flew. And then I think Stega was the one, either it had the, like those big like shark fins down its back, or there was another one that I remember he had like had almost like a shell on his head.
That's the Stega one you're talking about.
And then his tail had like a ball on it.
Yeah, that's the Stega one.
What a creature.
But like I've just been thinking about this like on the ride like to, for example, Branson.
Right.
And like when we were driving by the Lock and Dam up there, like I was just like, how do people like even come up, like how do they even have the brain cells to even make these things possible? Like I honestly like look at the grass and I'm like, how did that get there? Like,
yeah.
And like planes and like big things, like I just don't understand how people even make those.
It's weird. It's weird what we've
crazy.
done.
And like what's like in these mics.
And why does a microphone do that? I know.
Like, yeah.
I know.
How does it even form?
I always say like, I'm so happy that there are like inventors and super smart people. If it was for me,
there would be nothing on this earth.
If we had a pencil, we'd be loving, you know, and that's for real. But even the Lock and Dam I work at, it started in 1935. It started in actually like 34, but then they completed it. The first boat was actually locked through there in I think 39. And so that took 4 years. But I mean, the photos that we have of the initial construction, it's like, it's these old dudes. They had like very little equipment. I mean, they had equipment, but in the 30s compared to 2023, the cranes we have and all these big, huge machinery, they didn't have any of that stuff. And yet that thing is still standing 80 something years later. And it's like, yeah, you're right, man.
I try to like imagine like what you do at work and I just like can't. Like, what do you even do?
It's really hard to visualize it without actually seeing it.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I've been there, but like, I don't even know.
All right. So you know the dam. The dam is the thing that goes all the way across the river. Okay.
Yeah.
That thing, and there's 17 gates on it total. There's 14 of one kind of gate and 3 of another. It doesn't even matter. That dam is there because when those big towboats with the barges in them, when they're loaded down with, we're going to say coal. Okay.
Yeah.
When they're loaded down with coal, they are 9 feet underwater. We call that drafting. Okay. So when it's loaded down, it's obviously going to sink a little more because there's 1,500 tons of coal in it. The whole point behind that dam has nothing to do with floods. Most people think that. It has nothing to do with floods. It is only to keep at least 9 feet of water in the channel, which is marked out by the Corps of Engineers. There's green buoys and red buoys. So if you drive up through in between those green buoys, you are in the channel. My job is to make sure that there are 9 feet of water in that channel above us at all times.
But what happens if there's not?
Then the boats will run aground, we call that. They will actually sit in the dirt underneath the water, and you aren't getting those off until more water comes or a boat that's big enough to pull that, which there's not a lot of them.
Wow.
So that's the main thing that we do. All right. So then on the upstream side of the dam, on the north side of it, that's the water that we control.
Right.
So if a boat is coming downriver, the reason we have that chamber there that you guys have seen, remember
the one you can walk across? Or am I thinking of the...
We never walked across it.
Right. We
never walked across anything. We stood there with our life jackets on like good boys and girls. Yes, that thing you can walk across. Yeah. I'm just kidding. I don't care. So when they pull into that chamber, the water level in that chamber is the same as up above the dam.
Right.
When they pull in there and do what they have to do, we open up these valves and then the water drops out. When the water drops down, it's now the same elevation as the river below the dam.
Yeah.
So now they can safely pull out and go about their way. And you just to repeat the same process, but if they're coming upriver too. it is kind of confusing,
It's
but
very confusing.
when you've done it for a long time,
Yeah.
it's just like
Mhm.
so boring and slow.
Right.
But that's basically how it works.
Yeah. So like do they go like out of state? Like do they travel on boat out of state? Like where do they go from there?
So the Mississippi River starts, where it's navigable for boats and barges in St. Paul, Minnesota, way up north.
Wow, yeah. That's the capital of St. Paul. I mean,
Good
of
job.
Minnesota.
Of Minnesota, good job.
Yeah.
And then they can go all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. They go down through Louisiana, all that stuff, and they go all the way out to the ocean. And then when they get to the ocean, they can go, the ocean. They can go anywhere.
Wow.
So, yeah, there are boats that travel the lower Mississippi. That's down below St. Louis. And then there are some that travel the upper, which is us and up.
Yeah.
So,
Wow,
yeah,
that's crazy.
they're going up to Iowa and Minnesota and getting corn and wheat and all kinds of commodities and bringing them around the world. And, not the type of corn you eat, but the type of corn that goes into animal feed. And it's used for every beans and corn and cement,
Right.
rock and coal, just all kinds of different stuff.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It is a great gig, but as you well know, and so does our audience, that stupid night shift thing is the worst part about it.
Yeah.
I miss everything. So here we are today on September 11th. It's 2023 now. But 22 years ago, what is your understanding of what happened here in the United States of America?
Okay, so from what I've learned,
You wouldn't be born for 11 more years?
Right.
Okay.
Right. So it was 11th. So it's 16 days to my birthday, right? That's just like how I think of it, because
Sure.
it's my birthday, right?
Right.
And so, basically it was like 9 something.
Yeah, you don't have to.
It wasn't 9/11, but like all day at school today, let me just throw this in there. All day at school today, my friends were like setting alarms for 9:11 a.m. And like they were
really?
going off in class. My friend set an alarm on mine before we went to dismiss to go to class, but I turned it off so I wouldn't get in
Well,
trouble.
let me stop you real quick. The first flight, and folks, I am definitely reading this off of my computer. I did not remember this. I will
Right.
tell you a personal story, but the first flight, American Airlines Flight 11, crashed into the World Trade Center's North Tower at 8:46.
Yeah.
This is Eastern time, so they're an hour ahead of us. So it would have been 7:46 here, and then killing everyone aboard and trapping people. Is so terrible. I hate it.
3,000 people were killed.
And then at 9:03, the second plane hit. So
Right.
what's that? That is 14 minutes plus 3, so 17 minutes apart, dude.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, wait, yeah. So basically, Osama bin Laden, correct? Him and his tribe. Four people?
Well, those were the hijackers.
Well, yeah, that's
there
what I'm
were
talking
many
about.
more. There more than that, but anyway,
The hijackers is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So basically, they drove the one plane into the first tower, whatever, 846 or whatever you said. That's definitely wrong. Don't quote me, but.
It's right here.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
it's
right?
New York Times.
Wow, okay. And so they drove that into the first tower.
They flew it.
Or that's what I meant. and then what, 14 minutes
no,
later?
17 minutes, if
Yeah.
my math is correct.
Yeah. So, and then the second plane got hit. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Back
so, and then.
Back up just a half.
Okay.
Just yeah, right there's perfect. Okay, so one hit the North Tower. 17 minutes later, another one hit the south.
Yeah. And then, so it says that I'm not reading this from my brain, but it says that nearly 2,996 people exactly passed away, and then 400 almost of them were firefighters and policemen. And then I'm gonna say this because I think it's important. There's this book called Ground Zero by Alan Gratz, I believe, and he it was a book about this kid. I think his name was James. I don't think so, but I think.
That's
And he was in the first tower, first tower on the like 91st floor, and his dad was like on the top floor or something, right where the plane crashed. And he was trying to go save his dad when the whole plane went into the building. And like it was just talking about how like he experienced it and how he got out and everything. It's just crazy. And then it's like a 2-person book, like a 2-part book. It's one book, but there's another girl that lives in Afghanistan, and it's like told from her point of view, and how like the military in the United States went over there and attacked them, and how she reacted and how her family reacted and everything. It's a really good book. I want to read it soon. But
So the Americans version of the attack, and then the Afghani girl's version of the reaction by the United States from that attack.
I think it's very interesting. I've met so many people that have read it, but
it sounds really interesting. I've never even heard about that, but I'll get it for you if you read it and do a report. What's this we? You got a mouse in your pocket? I don't read.
Right.
Yes, you
do.
I should.
You do.
All right. So, okay.
Oh, wow. This is crazy.
Do you have, what do you got?
23 people survived. Or, like, no, wait. No, hold on. Like, 23 people from that were in the tower survived. Out of the, like, hundreds of people in there.
Hundreds?
Including 15 rescue workers.
Wow.
So that's, like,
not
23 minus 15.
It's not a lot.
Right. Like, 7 people out of those 23 were in the tower.
Do you know or have an idea or could make a guess as to why certain people would hate Americans so much to be able to do something like that? I mean, why anybody in the world would want to hurt all those people, but specifically we're just talking about 9/11.
Right.
Do you know why they hated us to the point that they would go
I love getting asked these type of questions because, like, I think it's mostly just jealousy. They want to be the United States, and Osama obviously wasn't getting the type of attention and credit that he wanted from all of his, like, bunch of people in his tribe that do nothing but attack people for no reason. But the fact that he's insecure about himself, and
you think Osama bin Laden was insecure?
Oh yeah, that's 100%. Which is why he needed more people to, quote, tell him that he was good enough and that he was. I think personally he wanted a bunch of people to obey him, and he wanted to roll over a bunch of people.
Huh. That's an interesting take.
But
so you think he was looking for fame?
Oh yeah, or
just recognition.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Well,
what do you think?
Well, these are the religion of Islam. These are radicalists.
Right.
They were, and there still are many. Most of your Islamic or Muslim people, they do. This is a very radicalized sect of people, and the way that they read,
right.
Their scripture says that if you are not, and this is a synopsis of it, if you are not Islam, you are an infidel.
Wow.
So that's us. So their mission, their goal is to either convert you or to kill you.
Wow. So like make you believe what they believe?
But chances are,
that's crazy.
If you got a plane ticket to Afghanistan or, where bin Laden happened to be at any time, it's not like he would have welcomed you in with open arms anyway, being an American,
There's a girl in my class that's Muslim.
Yeah.
She was talking about, we had our personal history project. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, please do.
But
this is podcasting. We're just talking.
Right. We did a personal history project, and those are the questions that I asked you.
I remember.
About like our culture and where we come from and everything. And she was talking about like the different types of food they make and how they express their beliefs. And she was talking about like the temples they go to and all of that stuff. And just like, I had no idea that like, she was like, she does the same things as the people that did that. And like, I don't think of her as anything but a good person. Like, she's a really good, like,
no names,
personal speaker, or like, what's it called, like performance
public speaker,
yeah. And she she was just talking about it, and like the food they eat seems to be really good. I'm not gonna lie, like
A lot of people really enjoy it.
yeah, but I don't
Well-
know. Just seeing like the way different cultures look at things is just crazy.
Let me clarify one thing.
We don't.
There that group of MFers.
Yeah. Bleep.
Yeah, I got a bleep button, but I'll mess it up. That group of people is so small
Mm-hmm.
and stupid.
Yeah.
And so, like,
Not all, but most.
no, the
The
group
people
of
that-
terrorists
Oh, okay. Yeah,
are
yeah.
it's such a small percent of that religion.
Yeah.
It's they're just they don't deserve to be breathing the same air
Right.
as us, and they deserve everything they got.
Right.
There are plenty of Muslim people who are very good. I
Yeah.
mean, most. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
You could talk about Catholic, you could talk about Baptist, you could talk about every religion,
Mhm.
and there are going to be a few knuckleheads in the bunch. However,
Oh, yeah.
generally they don't go flying planes into buildings and killing thousands of people. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I'm not making jokes about this, but I do want to
No,
be a
no,
little
yeah.
more light about it because it's like it was. So you had Pearl Harbor back in 1941.
Right.
The Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, our naval base down there, and did some real damage. And then this is like the next time that anybody had the balls to come over here and do some stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, whoa, was it a wake up, you know?
Right.
So I tend to think, and you could be 100% correct about Bin Laden. We won't be able to ask him these questions because he's no longer with us.
Right. I
No good
Oh.
son of a
I think I had no idea that was like the Bible that they preach and everything.
the Quran.
Right. I don't know the specific word.
Oh,
but
I hear you. No, I'm just.
but that makes a lot of sense though, because if that's the religion that they really follow and really believe in, which they obviously do.
But that's not what the book says. They interpret it, and that's what
Right.
that's what a radicalist is. It's someone that interpret like
Well, I think,
God said to do this. No, dude, he
Right.
was saying
Right.
blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
But the way they interpret it is that we are no good. If we don't follow their stuff, we're not worth it,
Yeah.
and we should all die.
yeah.
And it's like, not the most religious person in the world, but I don't
Right.
think there's too many books written about a man who, you know, and everyone's God, I guess, is a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
Ours, you know, if you're Catholic, he died for your sins, and
Right.
and I don't know exactly what theirs says, so I can't talk on it, but I'm pretty sure it didn't say, go kill everybody that's not a Muslim. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, yeah. My
So- For them to take it out of context like that to the point and the extent that they did is like, whoa.
yeah. I'm trying to think. You know both of these teachers. My second grade, it was either my second grade teacher or I don't know, fourth grade teacher. I think it was fourth grade though, because she's a little bit older. But she was talking about in class one time about how she was alive during the attack,
Mm-hmm.
and she was actually in fourth grade. She was in fourth grade. She wasn't in town, I don't think, or she might have been. I don't know. But she was talking about how like the ground like shook, and how she like her teacher like turned on something in the class or something and saw everything that was going on, and how like she like really like could not even believe it, and like they all got sent home, like all the kids in the elementary school got sent home because of it.
Well, if the ground shook, she must have been really
Yeah,
close.
she yeah, I think she was.
Was she in New York?
Probably.
Well, you had to have been.
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
there was another building that, or another plane that flew into the Pentagon, and
Right.
I don't know how many schools. The
Yeah.
Pentagon, it's a very secure facility,
Mhm.
so you can't, like, nobody gets all that close. And then there was another one, Flight 93, they made movies about in Shanksville, Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
and these people fought back, and the plane still unfortunately crashed. But
Right.
you have a teacher that was in fourth grade on 9/11.
Miss yeah.
Wow, she's a child still.
Yeah.
I say that because I was
She's still young.
out
She
of
just
high
had her
school.
first kid like 4 years ago.
Right.
I'm trying to think about where my grandma was. But my grandma on mom's side, mom's grandma
I understand.
or mom's mom. She was in New York for a business thing.
Was she
For-
really?
Yeah, for her insurance company. And She was in like the other side of the city, I
So
think.
Manhattan.
Manhattan, that's what it
Well,
was.
it was, I think, Lower Manhattan.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
where the towers were.
But it was still in there.
So she was not right there.
Not
though.
right there, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And she remembered it like very clearly. She went there, she was there, and then she like heard a boom.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then she like turned on her TV and she saw like all the stuff that was happening, and they like called all the people that were on her insurance,
yeah.
like with them in New York, and they all had to like drive. And I remember her talking about how much traffic she was in, and then she had to like none of the planes were being used at all. Like you could not get on any flights.
Everything was grounded.
So right, she was stuck there for like 3 days.
Oh yeah,
I think.
Yeah. And New York City has, I think, 8 million people. Something.
Right,
It's insane anyway. And then so with that kind of catastrophe going on downtown, like,
yeah.
And I hate to say this because it's just terrible, but like the heat from the fire got so bad that some people were like, they had, and you're inhaling all this smoke, and like some people had to like, I mean, it jump and stuff.
They did. I saw a picture of it.
It's so I mean, how devastating and just like how scary, and like,
I wish we could have just been more prepared for it. I think.
I don't know if any, of course, I agree with you 100%, but who would have, I mean.
Right. Nobody would have.
It's weird to me, like, I'm sorry, dude. And I'm not Mark Wahlberg, and I'm not saying I can save the world. And it is not a fair thing to say. And I know this from being overseas. When you come home, everybody goes, if I were over there, I would have done it. That's not what I'm doing here, because that's unfair to do to those great people that were on those planes that unfortunately didn't make it. But I'm like, dude, I've seen the size of these people. They're built like women. They're skinny little runts, and like, I had to search them and stuff, and you can just feel their bones. They're like emaciated. We're big fat Americans, dude. I'm like, some dude with a box cutter, you're gonna have to cut me up, because like I know, and this is what I'm saying, I am not talking down on those people that were on those planes, because I know some Americans got up and did some, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but it's just like, the story had to have been so crazy. Like, it had to have been much more difficult and terrifying than we could ever imagine being on that plane, But it's just like, dude, I could shake one of those dudes with a left jab and completely blow. I mean, I've got to think that. I have to think that. And it's not fair of me to say.
Yeah.
But I got to think, I could knock one of those dudes out easy. Box cutter my ass. I mean, that's just some stitches,
Yeah.
And so, but it's terrifying to think about what those poor people had to go through, man. I feel so bad for them, still.
I have a little bit more of like a background.
Come on.
Because of 6th grade, we did a like writing test, and I actually got advanced in writing. I forgot to tell you on my MAP scores. That's the reason why I'm going in a gifted program, because I got advanced in ELA writing. I got 620, which is the most, like the absolute most you can get for writing.
Oh, so you found out. Awesome.
Right. Yeah, I have my
awesome.
sheets.
Good job. We hadn't found out until now.
Yeah.
So great, man.
And so we did a writing test. We spent like 2 weeks on it on 9/11, and we watched a bunch of videos and like a news like the Fox 11 or whatever. on like when the 9/11 was happening.
Yeah.
And like the guy, the producer that was talking in the mic about it, like didn't even realize that the second tower got hit. Like he completely forgot to announce, like didn't even see it till somebody like brought it up, and like you could like visually see the tower running straight through the building. Like I wish, like I should pull up the video or something and show you later, because it's insane. Like literally. And then they were talking about how like in different videos what the people that were going, like the terrorists, I guess, like how like horrifying it was for the people on the plane, because they showed like some phone calls from the people that were on the plane.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Right. And then like one of the men like called his wife, and he was like, I'm so sorry, like the plane's gonna crash. And I just like started crying.
Oh, it was so sad. Horrifying.
Right. And then I had to do a, I guess, presentation on a guy that was in the towers, and he made it out, and he like got to share a story.
Wow.
And stuff. It was really fun, but I remember that being one of my fun writing tasks that I liked.
Yeah. I as you know, there's a lot of really like bad stuff on the internet, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about it.
Mhm.
I've never been into I don't think it's good for my soul to see anything else. You know what I mean? Like I don't get a kick out of like people getting hurt. I don't like the war stuff really.
Yeah.
I didn't even read like I don't know. Of course I've seen the videos, but it was like when the first one hit, it was such a bad oh my goodness, this is terrifying. And then when you see that second one clear as day coming through the sky and you're like,
what is going on?
no way.
Yeah.
No way. And then it just like, and you're like, so my personal story, your grandma PJ worked for the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the USDA.
What is that?
The USDA, so if you were to go get a steak right now, the USDA, like they grade meat and the food that we're eating and make sure it's safe, and they test all kinds of stuff. And grandma worked in the packaging, like she worked in like the warehouse of it.
Yeah.
Her friend got her a job there. But after that attack, I can't say all government facilities, were shut down, but hers was.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you remember this, but I had gotten signed up for the Marine Corps. I had enlisted late junior year of high school.
Right.
Went home and asked grandma if I could borrow the car. She said, why? I'm going to get signed up for the Marines. Let's get it done now. And she was like, well, we need to talk about this. And I'm like, Mom, I've been talking about this since the day we saw that Marine at McDonald's. You know what I mean? That's all I ever talked about. You talk about going to wherever in Texas to cheer. It's the same thing as how I talked about being a Marine.
Yeah.
That it was just my whole life goal. So I happened to have a lot of going away parties before I left for boot camp. But I had been given an original leave date of September 17th, 2001.
Right.
This was long before the attack. Long before. It just worked that way. So she was at work. Grandma was at work. I was in my room still sleeping. And again, it was early in the morning, so it's not like that crazy. But she came in and was super upset, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
You know, that's what Marines do, is when things like that happen, we go. And so she came in and she, you know her, she cried if the sun wasn't out, you know?
Yeah.
But she came in and like turned my TV on and she was like, babe, and sat down on the end of my bed. And I just kind of looked up and I was like, oh no, you know, because like, there are a lot of people who go through their enlistment in the military and, you know, you get to go to Hawaii and sometimes Australia and you just go on your float and do a lot of training and it's awesome and you still meet great people. But there are, you know, not a lot in my lifetime because we had Desert Storm and then this one was 20 years, you know, whatever. So, but there was a gap there from like Vietnam until Desert Storm where guys would go in, do their time and never see combat. And it's like, when I saw that, I mean, it was very clear of how it would change my life for sure.
You were in for 4 years, right?
No, I did less than that because remember grandma got sick and I had to make that decision to get out. But so now it's like I don't just go get to do the training and be able to call myself a Marine and do all this other stuff. Like now it's very clear, right? And I start doing the math in my head. I go, okay, so boot camp 3 months, School of Infantry 3 months. That's 6 months from now. I'm a kid. I'm just out of high school. So I don't know how long it takes to design and prepare and get ready for a war.
Right.
But like, I know that it's going to be a part of my life. As Marine Infantry, one of our mottos, one of our many mottos is the first to go and the last to know. Yeah. Meaning they just go, this is where we're going. We'll tell you why when we get there type of thing.
Yeah.
So that's our job. And that's the job that I signed up for. And that was the job that I wanted and everything else.
Right.
But so I leave for boot camp a week after that. I mean, so that's on the 11th. I left the 17th, 6 days.
6 days, yeah.
Is that right? So like on Sundays, our drill instructor, our senior, would come in and he would read the newspaper, like whatever was going on, daily event, you know, current events. there was nothing current except the attacks and,
Right.
and who it was. We started getting information on who it was, and you know, the United States of America were going to find out who's behind this attack on our country.
Right.
And so, I mean, the drill instructors would be like, better say goodbye to your girlfriends, you know where you're going and stuff, you know. So it was a big part of my life too,
Right.
you know.
And it says here, like, it took 10 months to clean up and, like get all the, like, dust and
debris and
stuff, like, out from 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, literally, you were gone, like, right as that started, like, right as everything started, like, getting back into the groove. Because, obviously, it took months to, like, restore all the stuff that was broken because of that.
Well, just to find all the people. I mean, they say that not everyone is still accounted. I mean, I hate to even talk about it. It's so terrifying to me. But, like, you know, where we did where we started off on the 4th of July Day Parade, that big, huge piece of steel that's right there, that came from the towers.
World Trade Center, yeah.
I don't know which tower it came from. It says up there which one it came from.
I think it was one.
But I mean, how crazy, like, to see that huge piece of steel mangled like that. It's like the heat, you know what I mean? So if a building can't stand up to it, like, we're humans, our skin is pretty soft, like, as far as burn and cut, it's like the worst case scenario almost, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I just feel so bad for those poor people, all of them, the firefighters, police officers, first responders, paramedic, everybody. But then, like, you're just in your office doing data entry and like,
and then that happened. Like,
you might have been getting a drink. You might have been going to the bathroom. You might have been talking to your buddy about the Jets game or whatever they're talking about that day. And then here comes this freaking a plane.
Yeah, like into the building you're in.
A plane. Not only that, but two, and then another one into the Pentagon, and then another one was supposed to be going to where it's like, dude, I just wanted to come to work today, you know? And these poor people, and folks, she is not laughing because she thinks any of this is funny.
No,
She's laughing at her stupid dad because I'm an idiot. But,
but
so just to further kind of my story about going to boot camp and stuff, like, that was why I ended up being a part of the invasion.
Right.
So
you said you had to search them.
All of them.
So, like,
anybody we found, we searched.
So you were in there when you guys were trying to find Osama? Like,
not in New York.
No, in Afghanistan.
I was in Iraq. I never went to Afghanistan.
Right.
There were two different wars for two different reasons, and it's political. I don't want to get it. That's not what my show's about. But I was never in search of Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, that was in Afghanistan.
Right. Our job, our war, the beginning was called Operation Iraqi Freedom. We were there to eliminate Saddam Hussein, who was a mass murdering maniac, and he didn't deserve to walk on this earth with us either, and he no longer is. But
that's the one that was on the
flag.
Thing. Yeah.
Yep. Or no, that poster I have at the museum.
Yeah,
that's him. He was the dictator there, and a dictator is not a nice guy. So, but so time-wise, it worked out that March of 2003, so you go September 01 to March of 03.
Right.
We were on our normal. Now, we had a pretty good idea that we were not just going to have fun, going to Hawaii and Australia, which we did those things.
Yeah.
But when we went over there, we were on our naval ship, and we took a helicopter into Kuwait. Kuwait borders Iraq.
Yeah.
And we stayed there for about a month and got used to the weather. And we were really waiting on orders from President Bush.
Yeah.
We were waiting for him to say, go. And so finally we started getting a little bit of information in and coming up with a plan on what we were going to do. And then, March 19th, we invaded Iraq and started this thing in 2003.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So did I fight Al-Qaeda or ISIS or any of that? I don't think so. Now, there could have been some of those people sprinkled in there. I doubt that, though. I think they were all pretty much Afghanistan, Pakistan. I think they all pretty much took off from there. Like I said, the war I fought in wasn't about, it was about terrorism for sure, because Saddam was definitely a terrorist, like in his own way. But this wasn't, it wasn't directly because of the 9/11 attacks.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, either way, that thing kicked off a war in that desert,
Right.
all of those countries.
And then that also killed more people, but they
A lot
asked
more.
for it basically. So
I mean,
what are you
some
gonna do?
did and some didn't,
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's called a casualty of war. And, if you'd like to think about it that way, and I know that you were just stating, an opinion maybe, or making a statement, but there are a lot of casualties of war in those buildings too.
Right.
A lot of innocent people, a lot of Americans that are innocent. And for some reason, not for some reason, for a lot of reasons, that means more to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? As an American.
And like, crap.
We were talking about, you said something about innocent people.
That's another reason why I think what I think about what caused him to like think about this.
Oh, right.
Is because like, obviously you wanted to start something. Like he probably had, my guess is that he had a whole plan built up about what he was going to do because he knew that this was going to happen.
I mean,
or else he wouldn't have done it.
In a lot of ways, he organized.
You're coming to America.
Yeah.
And going after main landmarks
Big time.
in America that could involve very important people.
Sure.
I would be scared and I would not do that. That's why I think I'm pretty sure everyone thinks he's insane, but.
Have you ever heard of the word martyr?
No.
Do you know what a martyr is?
Well, I've heard of it, but I don't know.
So a martyr is someone who, so you have heard of the suicide bombers, right?
Yeah, no.
Okay, so a suicide bomber would put a vest on with explosives on it. And he would drive into an area with Americans or anyone.
Yeah.
And just blow himself up. They believe.
That's so stupid.
Yeah. They believe again. See, now, and it's weird because that's so silly to us, right? This is just a ridiculous conversation with the one we're having us, to me and you sitting here and everybody else we know. To them, they think that they're going to the best part of heaven and they will receive things there. I don't want to tell you about that because you're my daughter, but they will receive things there and they are basically like in their own little way, they're not a saint, but they are now a holy, like it's an honor for them to do this, I know it sounds.
I'm not laughing.
No. I hear you. It's wild, dude. It's like
that's crazy.
Wait a minute. You want me to put this on me and then press this button,
and then I like blow up.
But they don't see it as a stupid thing to do. They think of it as like the most important. Like to them, it's an okay. So to me, it's I don't want to go here too far with you, but like to die for your country, for my country, is an honor. However, it sucks because you don't get to go home, obviously, right? But there's something that we have our own things in America. We have our own things as Marines and the Army and the Navy. Everybody has their own like belief system and stuff, and so do they. So I mean, yeah, it's crazy,
but not in their eyes.
Not to them. They think they're gnarly for it. They're like. They're dope.
They're on top of the world.
Yeah. So, I mean, but imagine somebody's, all right, so Chevelle.
Yeah.
Today, what you're going to do is we're going to put 2 500-pound bombs in the back of your car, right?
Right.
And you're going, go on. And they're going, because you're thinking maybe like you're going to drop it off somewhere to a buddy.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then you go, so what you're going to do is you're going to drive up to this market.
Right.
And we're going to give you this cell phone here, but don't accidentally hit that green button until you get there. And you go, well,
great.
Why? What's the green button do? It sets off that 1,000 pounds of explosives in the back of that car. But here's the deal. You're going to be freaking awesome for doing it.
Right.
And you go, Roger that. Yeah, that sounds great, man. It sounds like a good Wednesday afternoon.
Right.
And that's how they get down. That's how they used to. And I mean, I know they still do it, but.
Right.
So just a terrible day in our country's history. And there's just really no other way to say it, man. And if you're listening and, you knew anybody that was down there, I'm very sorry for your loss, of course. And it's a bummer that ever happened. And you like to try to see the good side of things. Huh?
That was my cue.
I like to try to see the good side of things, but it's like, that's a tough one to do.
Right.
What was the good side to that? What good came from that? There's a 20-year war that, I mean, we got we got Osama apparently, and I do believe that. I don't mean to say
100%.
apparently. And we got Saddam,
Mm.
and then what else? You know what I'm saying?
Like millions of people died.
Not millions, but a lot.
Close.
A lot.
That was just
A lot, man. I know what you meant.
exaggeration.
But so, I don't know. I'd like to try to see, but we're not going to talk about that. It's just
Right.
we thought we needed to come down here and speak on it a little bit. And
Mm-hmm.
people my age, you know, we've been every year we go through this, you know, and you guys have been. It's just that now you're at an age where you can understand it, and
Right.
it's like you're gonna learn more about it in your life than I did, just because it will be a part. I mean, it is a part of history already, you know. So terrible day, and I hope nothing like that ever happens to us again, man. Because
Yeah.
it's just it's so hard to watch.
Mm-hmm.
You can't imagine, like, your dad goes to work that day, he's a firefighter, like the biggest studs in the world, or like police officers, awesome dudes. And, you know, they're like, these guys are risking, especially like New York firefighters and New York
Right.
police officers, all those huge buildings, dude, there's a fire up there. Them dudes have to go.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's terrifying in and of itself. And then they're just like selflessly running in this building, both of these buildings, and trying to get these poor people out. And then they're dying, you know, I mean, and they died in the line of duty, and there's nothing more honorable and stuff. And I respect all those people so much, man.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's such a freaking drag that it just even had to happen. And
Right.
I just feel bad for all the families still 22 years later, and everybody that had to go through that. So hats off to everyone, much respect and everything. So,
Right.
well, I think we got our point across on the 9/11 thing,
Yeah.
right? Do you
Yep.
feel pretty good about it?
Yeah.
Anything else you got to add to that particular conversation? No.
Nope.
What else is going on? Cheer, cheer, cheer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our routine. We got our routine down. We did our entire routine at the game.
I heard
Saturday.
you guys killed it.
We did so good. Oh my gosh.
Did you?
My stunt sequences.
Why do I miss all those?
They both killed it. They both hit very good. We were working on my second to last stunt, which is my, you don't even know what that is. It's the show and go to half
I used to be a cheerleader.
press.
What are you talking about?
Right. Sorry. My fault. But they're so solid. My extension, I used to not even be able to do them in competitive cheer.
Right.
And to even think that I can do that now is crazy. And
That's
have it
awesome.
be so solid and look good, so good.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. And like,
Progress.
right. We're doing flip stunts, which are the things where you're here and then you flip them.
I don't like it.
Last year, I couldn't do that. I
Yep.
had too many mental blocks, so that's another step forward.
You've overcome.
Right, and it's just the team together is just so amazing. And then hearing about the bad news about Sam and how she's not even on the board anymore. They're just letting her teach.
I didn't even get all the details. No. You're good. I'm just saying
Yeah.
we'll discuss that one off air, just because it's
Right.
probably personal and stuff. But that is a drag, because she was an awesome
She's
coach.
a really good coach.
Yeah, she did
She
a
does-
lot
Yeah,
lot for you guys. So,
Mhm.
but
yeah, it's
I hear that you're going to be cheering your brother's game this weekend. Is that correct?
really.
I thought so.
I
Maybe
have no idea.
maybe he plays, then you cheer. I forget exactly how it works out. but
Right, I have no idea.
it's going to be a cool day at the field for sure.
Right, I probably do cheer for him because
Yeah.
for 7th, 8th grade. So
Alicia's got something one of those days. I had
Or-
to take off work.
do you know who we're versing?
No.
Right.
Why do you guys say that?
Because I think it's more it gives me something more to look at, because there's a few teams that we have that are like rivals.
No, I'm saying, why do you got my whole life we always said, do you know what team I'm playing?
Oh,
And now you guys say 9v9. We would say 9-on-9.
right.
I don't know where
it's
that
the same
switch.
thing. I don't even
No,
know.
it's exactly the same thing. I just don't know where that switch happened. It's interesting.
Right. I don't even know. I just say it.
You kids went and messed everything up, didn't you?
All right. That was our fault.
So this is your first time on here,
Yeah.
and Alicia and I talked last night, and I talked to Cash about it a little bit. The reason why there are a lot of podcasters that don't have their families on their podcast, and I do understand that for their own reasons, right? But for mine, and our goal here, as I've talked to you about, is like helping people, right? So
Right.
in my imagination, so anyway, I'll get back, remind me where I'm at, but Alicia had a friend call her today that listened to our podcast that we did last night.
Mm-hmm.
I just published it today, and her life revolved around a little bit of the troubles that I had with her son. Okay, that's all I'll say about it. So she was very familiar with what Alicia and I were talking about. It was some of my past and stuff that you're, getting more, we're talking a little more openly now that you're getting a little bit older and you can kind of handle it and everything. And I like to just be upfront and honest. So helping people, and so Alicia's friend called her and like I was in tears and then laughing and then in tears and then laughing and like that is my I know that's my absolute goal for this thing. Like I think it's important to kind of touch people in a way that makes them emotional because a lot of the stuff it's family and everybody has one, and so like that's really important to me, but also just to kind of help people understand they're not alone and stuff like that. So when it comes to you kids, my little fantasy or whatever you would call it is that maybe there's another person. I just say dude, but females too. If there is another person in the car with their kid,
right,
and their dad is a lot like me or something, like what kind of question can I ask you that could get you to possibly help somebody else? Like if there's another girl your age in a car with a dad like me and they're listening to this thing, what would be a question or something? Like what would you have something to say? Like, okay, maybe this one always comes up front to me. Like I know that I pop off. Like I'm well aware of who I am and how I operate, and it sucks and I want to be better and I'm trying. But you know how sometimes, and I'll say it because nobody else is down here, it's not usually you so much as it is those two knuckleheads upstairs, brother and sister of yours. When a parent says like, hey, chill out for me. And then whatever it is, the freaking football game in the living room keeps going on. I go, hey guys. And then, my famous last words are always, you guys hear my voice changing.
Yeah.
It's not because I'm having fun doing this. I'm letting you know like I'm about to get there.
Yeah.
In the way they sometimes can keep going, and then I'll pop off, which I should be able to control that better. But what kind of advice or like, what is it like to have a dad like me? And nothing you can say is going to hurt my feelings. Think about helping other people. I'm very aware of who I am and how I am.
It's definitely eventful. If I had to say one thing.
Well, that's a very nice way to say it.
It's taught me a lot about how people, honestly, just like in general, like how people move and how people react to certain things. And it's taught me a lot about how to keep my cool. Like, not that you don't. You're really good at that sometimes.
Sometimes. Not all the time.
And how to react to what certain people have to say about you. Because there's just some people that just don't like me. But anyways.
You know how many people don't like me?
Right.
I don't know why people don't like you. I'm very aware of why people don't like me.
Yeah. It disturbs me, but then I really think about who they are as a person and off topic. But I think it shows me a lot about how to react and how to fix my behavior quickly to get a different result, because I've seen good results from what things you said and bad results, obviously. And me on the outside of certain conversations, like with you and the twins, and how if they don't stop, it's the same thing at mom's house too.
Sure. It's the same thing at most houses.
Right. It happens a lot to everyone. And honestly, they don't ever stop. They really don't. They don't. And like no matter what I say, no matter what anyone says, they're going to keep bickering and arguing.
Yeah.
And it makes me like really just like aggravated. But I try to just like let them deal with it on their own. But obviously sometimes it's going to affect you. We're a family. Like we do a lot of things we do together. So really, I just try to stay out of it and make it more their decision whether they want to have a good day or not.
Yeah.
And really, like in the mornings too, before school, this morning was not a good morning. like most.
Mornings are tough.
But
We have pretty good mornings here.
yeah. But it ruins my entire day, really. It makes me get up, makes me rush, and then it makes me not do the things I want to do in the morning to prepare for school.
Right.
And then I'm in a bad mood because I didn't do that thing during school. And then I think about how bad of a morning it was. But
having brothers and sisters can be tough.
Right.
Having a dad like me can be tough.
Right. But honestly, it's worth it. It teaches people a lot, honestly. But obviously some days are going to be bad for everyone. Yeah. I would just like stay on top of it and not let it bother you too much and just.
Well, and sometimes, you know, if you're the child out there listening to this.
Hi.
Yeah. Hello. Sometimes your dad might have things going on inside that he doesn't know how to.
And for you, because I know it's hard dealing with everyone else's stuff and yours.
Well,
so.
And that's I'm adding myself into this thing, right?
Right.
Sometimes your dad or your mom might be going through things inside that it might be difficult for them to explain to you because you're younger, and it's like, you know, I tell my kid, I try to be open, but of course there are some things that they just aren't ready for, you know, and maybe never, I might not, I don't know, but, you know, so while we are the adults and we should handle ourselves in a much better way,
right?
Sometimes it's very difficult to do. You know how, like, I've always told you guys those noises, like, especially when I'm in the shower, because I'm in this place, and when I hear all these noises going on, I think, even all these years later, that something is happening, like, bad outside. Right. And that's so weird, and I get it, and you guys shouldn't have to understand that, but it's like, you know, so.
Right.
I'm not saying take it easy on your parents, because, again, we are the adults, and we should be able to handle ourselves better.
Right.
I am saying that someday your mom or dad, whoever we're talking to in this situation, might be able to explain things to you that could make a little bit of sense, and it won't justify their actions.
Right.
But it will at least explain.
Right. I've listened to, like, I don't know if you know who Emma Chamberlain is.
No.
But I've listened to her podcast a few times. And, like...
What's she up to?
She just talks about women and how it's hard to let some things out to certain people.
Sure.
And how, like, you're not struggling alone. And it's worse if you struggle alone.
Yeah.
But, like me, I don't like to express my thoughts and feelings out most of the time, unless it's a few certain people. And I know that sounds really hard, but it really only helps if you're telling someone that really understands. Like my best friend, I only tell her the things that I tell her because I know that she relates to it and understands and has probably been through way more than I ever will and ever have. But like let it out to the people that you trust. And honestly, like, it makes it so much worse if you're going through something stressful by yourself.
So, like, someone you're comfortable with.
Right.
That's important.
And I know, like, all your parents always say, oh, like, go to me if you have anything going on.
Right.
But obviously you're not going to tell your parents everything that happens.
No.
And you guys know that.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to act like I tell you guys everything. Because
I hear you.
some stuff you guys just won't understand, and that's fine.
Right.
But that's what some people are there for, and if you don't let them in, it makes the bond less strong and, like, less powerful. Notice that, like, the past few weeks I've gotten a lot closer with one of my best friends because one of my best friends is a little bit stupid. But just know the people you can trust and really don't take anyone for granted because some people are fake.
Yep, unfortunately.
You just have to keep certain people close and really realize who's actually there for you and who's not.
Right. Well, and that's very similar even in an adult way, right?
Right.
So I had a lot of therapists and counselors and people to talk to, and I only clicked with a couple.
Especially therapists and counselors. I just can't.
Yeah. I mean, I only clicked with too.
Yeah.
Really. Like
Yeah.
solid. So I understand what you're saying.
Right.
Well, let's wrap this up
Right.
and
Yep.
get up to dinner and all that.
Yummy.
Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Of course.
With me. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
Did you have fun?
Yeah, this was really fun. We got to do this again.
You want to do it some more?
Uh-huh.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you have anything that you want to just come down and talk about. Just hit me with some topics and we'll
Right.
just like.
Recycle's a big one too. I want to talk about recycling.
You want to talk about recycling sometime?
Yeah.
All right, that's
I
important.
think it's a really big topic.
Save the dolphins and the whales and the turtles and all that stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, if anybody was directly or even indirectly affected by the terrible thing, don't laugh.
No. I thought you were going to be like offended by anything. Anyways.
Oh, offended by what you and I were saying.
Sorry,
no,
sorry,
no,
guys.
no. I know you weren't laughing. If anybody was directly or indirectly, and we all were directly or indirectly affected by what happened today, 22 years ago. Sorry, man. I really am. Hang in there, and I don't know.
I would never
What do you got?
even imagine about putting myself through that.
I know.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, me too.
I don't even mean to laugh. That's just my personality.
I hear you.
But
That's
yeah,
just the way it
I
goes.
couldn't even imagine that. You're strong if you're still living. 'Cause of that.
For sure. All right. Well, like we always say, man, be good and be nice and help somebody out. Do something good for somebody else. It'll make you feel better. So
Hold on. I gotta make
Yeah,
I gotta
yeah.
make my outro.
do your outro,
Okay,
man.
let me think.
This is your shot. You're gonna be famous.
I'm gonna be like,
Are you gonna rap?
I'm gonna be like, and then I'm gonna be like, peace out, girls. No, I'm joking.
Well, you can do whatever you
I'll
want.
be
It's your
like-
outro. You just gotta live with it forever.
Bye. Crap. I don't know. I gotta think of one that like is catchy.
Well, sometimes just whatever you come up with
Stay
is
happy and
perfect.
drink water.
Perfect.
Stay happy and drink water, guys.
That's good advice. Chevelle, thanks for coming on, babe.
course.
We'll do it again soon.
Okay.
All right, guys, be good. We'll talk to you
Stay
soon.
happy and drink water.
Yeah, peace out. Later.